Dr. Qureshi, can you explain how God is forgiving and merciful?
Because he's awesome. We can clap for God, that's okay. I think, I don't know if the question intended to say, is he both just and merciful, which I did talk about in my conclusion. But it was mentioned, so I'll briefly recap that because the question has been asked. The way that God can be both just and merciful, you really can't do that unless God is somehow able to reconcile these two ends of the spectrum. Justice requires punishment. Mercy requires forgiveness. How do you do both and be an absolute God? And that's been a question that's been very difficult to answer. Dr. Ali said in his conclusion that, well, God can just forgive. God is an absolute being, an infinite being. And if we approach him in this kind of, well, he can just forgive if he wants, that's not giving the due weight to an absolute being. And it's the same reason why I think that he doesn't see the issue on the eternality of the Quran. It's like, well, it's eternal, it's not eternal, bilakaif. No, this is important. And I'm not just saying, people have said that throughout Islamic history. How do you reconcile these things? And in a monadic conception of God, you can't. You can't, and you have to end up with bilakaif. And there is no way to reconcile his justice and his mercy. Well, somehow he does it. He just forgives. I think that is the primary difference. Whenever I've talked to my family on Islam versus Christianity, we always come down to this exact issue. Can God just forgive sins versus does he demand every sin be paid for? And I think that if you have a view of a God who's infinitely holy, and you have sin, which is a crime against that infinitely holy God, that cannot just be overlooked. That's something you have to pay for, unless you have a lower image of God or a lower image of sin, as sin not being that bad. But this, I think, is the primary point, and it does require a triune God, a non-monadic God to resolve.